Wizardry Variants Daphne brings a new face to the roster in the form of Gillion. He's our third limited fighter, so what does he bring to the table that makes him worth summoning? Hello, or hello again, I'm Somnio, and I'll be going over Gillion's kit, his gacha items, team comps, and more. So, what does Gillion even do? Gillion's kit heavily focuses on not only using SP to attack, but also his health. This is shown most prominently in his inheritable skill, Cry of Ruin. It is a moderate dark type, close range physical attack with high accuracy in one enemy that deals damage to all enemies in the row, with the damage falling off the further enemies are from the main target. Do note, the damage dealt to the main target is what is used to help calculate what is spread to the other enemies in the row. However, Gillion then consumes 25% of his max HP after this attack. This cannot be reduced by any damage reducing skills since they specify the character has to be attacked, when this is considered consumed damage. Cry of Ruin does pretty good damage and outdoes the mage's Maw spells, making this the first true AoE physical damaging skill. Wait, is that Yuzu and Renee? I'll first cover Renee. Her Inherit, Moment of Finality, is treated as a spell that uses her physical stats, but this also means that it cannot realistically surety on enemies. However, her skill does not have any damage fall off, unlike Gillion's Cry of Ruin. I would say that this is where Gillion can outdo her, since his skill can surety, dealing massive damage to multiple targets. Now Yuzu. While Yuzu's 1000 Hue isn't a traditional AoE, the way it's coded makes it more or less hit every enemy on the field it can with no penalty. Plus, each hit of 1000 Hue can surety, and outdoes Gillion in single target combats, while also being competitive in AoE fights. Yuzu is just really versatile. Sorry, Gillion. Anyhow, moving on to his personal skill, Cursed Blood Resonance. Gillion gets increased accuracy, action speed, and damage to enemies when equipped with a two-handed weapon. However, he also consumes 5% of his max HP after attacking. Do note, this also applies to skills, and his Inherit, Cry of Ruin, making it effectively cost 30% of his max HP every time he uses it. Back to Cursed Blood Resonance, it gives 8 action speed, 15 accuracy, and increases his attack by roughly 10%. Looking at this on paper, Gillion does outdo every other fighter at the same investment. However, getting copies of a limited unit is always a challenge. And while 10% can be noticeable, is it worth pulling a whole new unit for? Gillion's discipline focuses on attack power and accuracy, which is pretty good for a two-handed unit. Attack power is always appreciated, and accuracy can offset the negatives from two-handed weapons. For me, Gillion asks a bit of you for you to use him properly. For new players, Gillion may end up knocking himself out just by attacking, or putting himself in a situation where an attack can take him out. This also applies to veterans, where he can knock himself out even in auto. For both players, Gillion asks you to change your playstyle and party comp. To use Gillion without struggling, you'll need to have a priest go after him. Generally, priests like to go first to apply buffs or debuffs, but this puts Gillion in danger since he'll be at either 95% or 70% max HP when an enemy attacks. If you have a priest move after him, they can heal him, effectively negating this issue, giving you a strong fighter dealing pretty strong fighter damage. If you want to use Gillion, there are a few characters I recommend to use with him. Lana is an obvious choice since her end of battle heal should slow down his passive from taking him out, making him somewhat viable for auto battle teams, but I would still be careful regardless. I also wouldn't forget that Lana provides him a damage boost, roughly 10% since he is neutral. Talking about alignments, you can put at least behind him for an additional 8%, a niche only a neutral fighter can fill. Gillion also gives her fellow a decent niche since he consolidates healing and damage while using his inheritable skill. Her fellow's damage also rivals that of the mage's Maw spells pretty easily without any investment needed. All in all, I like Gillion's design and playstyle. I wouldn't say he's a must pull by any means, but if you do get him, he won't disappoint damage-wise. Of course though, he does struggle a bit with survival without the proper safeguards in place. He of course has the first physical line skill that can surety, so he does the mage's job better in regards to that too. He's also a dark element adventurer, which makes him suitable for endgame content. Let me know what you think of him in the comments below. And if you want some more wizardry content, watch this video here. Thank you very much for watching, and until then.